Should you be keeping your money in a savings account or should you invest in real estate? Full disclaimer, I'm a real estate broker. However, I'm going to show you the benefits of both. Why do people invest in real estate? That's pretty straightforward. It's a perfect combination of steady income, long-term appreciation, and it hedges you against the impact of inflation. It's not just an asset class that grows over time, but it also generates passive income if you choose to rent it out. There's one key factor that most people with savings accounts or with cash in hand don't take into consideration, and that is inflation and how inflation actually impacts your spending power. So the figures that I'm using in this video is purely based on the minimum viable amount that you should have to invest into the smallest property that you can in Dubai, which is a studio. And I think this arbitrary number is not that arbitrary because I recently discussed this figure with a potential client. So we're going to work with 680,000 dirham. So let's say, for example, you've got 680,000 dirham in your account. We know that the past inflation rate in the UAE was around 2.3%. We also know, and I'm going to get to this point, that the average construction time for a good quality developer is 2 years. So that's the timeline that we are going to be comparing these two models at. So 680,000 in a bank account, not accruing any interest, only inflation having an impact on your money, means that your spending power reduces with around almost 31,000 dirham over 2 years. That means that you've had 680 and after 2 years you have less, roughly around 650,000. But that doesn't seem very fair. I have to assume that your bank will give you anywhere between 3 and 4% on such a small amount in a savings account. So let's go with 4%. So let's look at the 680 over 2 years. You don't touch it. It's in your savings account. You don't add any money to it. It's only the interest from the bank that earns money on that money for you. After 2 years, your 680,000 is worth 735. So you did make 55,000 over the 2 year period, but then you still need to deduct inflation from that 55 that you made. So you made significantly less. So now I'm going to compare this to a studio investment in an off-plan project. And it's going to take 2 years for construction to be completed. It's 680,000 dirham as well. And it's a 60-40 payment plan. And this is what it looks like. Public math, shouldn't be doing it, so I did make a few notes. So at 680, you are required to pay 20% on booking. So that is around 136,000 dirham that you need to put down. Then there's associated purchasing costs like the 4% DLD, the admin fee, and the title deed fee. So the total that you need to put down on booking is around 167 to 170,000 dirham. The property value is 680. In your first year, you'll probably pay 30%. And in your second year, you'll pay another 30%, which makes up that 60% over the 2 year period of construction, because it is a 60-40 payment plan, meaning on completion, 40% or 40% post handover in installments is due. During this same time that you are vesting these installments into a property that is being constructed, the Dubai real estate market appreciates at just over 1.2, between 1.2 and 1.4% per month. So by the time that this property is ready and you've only invested 60% of that 680,000, the value of this property is just over 900,000 dirham. That means just over 2 years, the value of this property grew by over like 230,000 dirham. Here's where it gets even more interesting, calculating the return on equity. So Of the 680,000 at the day of handover, you want to sell, you've only paid 60% of that complete value. So that's around 410,000 dirham that you've invested into this property, and now we're selling it. Let's assume we're selling it for 800,000, not 900,000. The profit after selling is around almost 120,000, 116,000 dirham profit. That is a 28% return on equity. That is some serious returns. But let's not forget about inflation. Inflation still has an impact on this profit margin as well. Public math influences that 116 with around 5,000. It is still significantly more profitable to invest in real estate based on these terms and these assumptions than it is having money in a savings account. I hope that makes a little sense to you. There's a link in the description of this video. It takes you to my calendar. It's 30 minutes. It's free, where you can have a consultation with me. We can talk about the market. We can go through your pre-prepared questions to answer the uncertainties that you have around this market, and then opportunities we can dive into. There are great opportunities in the market right now that I have identified for multiple clients of mine, and we're taking action as we speak, and you should not miss out. So go to that link in the description. I'll see you there. I am your real estate mate, because clearly everybody needs a mate in real estate.